Patreon.com/fighting words. Love the boys, support the boys with your hard-earned cash. The only way that we can become independently wealthy is from you giving us £2 a month, £3.50 a month, £5 a month, or £10 a month. Fighting Words, as always, is supported by our Viking brothers, xbrain.co.uk. Enter promo code Fighting Words to save 20% at checkout on any and all X-Brain related products. And our boys at Market Squawk, powered by Live Squawk, for all of your on-demand come-as-you-go data needs. Let's not muck about with sponsor nonsense anymore. Big Steve's back. Hello, boy.
You all right?
I've missed you.
Miss you too. Madly.
Man. You're the only person that has ever reprimanded me for going quiet for a while. Everyone else just lets me get on with it, but you're the only one that's actually been like, you effing, we're going to keep it PC for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be a scary voice note.
Yeah. It was a decent voice note, and I won't ever do that again. Also, I've explained to Sam that the only people that can actually pull off Burberry check are Russians and Geordies, and you have fulfilled that prophecy to the nth degree, my boy. Yes! Yes! There it is. That's what's up. How you been?
I'm good, mate. Good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just frustrated, niggly little things going on, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. Listen, like we spoke at length about the fight. A draw is very fair. You can't have a co-main event with one judge, which is a referee, in my opinion. I think it's wrong.
That isn't just a referee, is a fucking Mackham, by the way.
Yeah.
A massive Sunderland fan. His Twitter profile is him at the Sunderland ground. I walked out to Newcastle because we're going to be in the Champions League. Sunderland are fucking rotten shite. And I'm walking out of the Champions League tune. So already his back was up. But listen, I'm not even asked about that. It's gone, it's forgotten, it's in the past. We'll move on.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I genuinely love about you. Like, you're very introspective, which is that you're incredibly high EQ, and you just got it together, dude. Right? And you know, it's a fight sport. You understand that an O means very little, and it is what it is. It's heavyweight boxing. Who cares?
But these zeros are coming against other than the Shane Gill one. The zeros, you know, will come from people who deserve to the loss will be deserved. I won't be fighting fucking plums. I refuse to fight plums. That's not what I'm in the sport for. I'm in the sport to see where I stand and to go as far as I possibly can. And if somebody takes, if I get a loss against myself, it'll be because the guy on the night is being better than us, and that's it. I'm not willing to get 15-0 and 16-0 like these people, and fight nobodies. And then we're seeing it with Audley Harrison.
Yeah,
I think Audley Harrison's a perfect example of gold medalist, and people still now think he's an absolute embarrassment. But you watch him in the amateurs, and you watch the kid, a 6'7", 18-stone southpaw who can punch. Had he not have been badly managed and signed a stupid deal and fought nobody, so the minute he fought somebody, his mindset of training was gone.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is as well, like, people don't understand how much of an impact on British boxing Audley had. Right, he won that gold medal. Right, it was him that campaigned for it. That big complex in Sheffield is a direct. Your hair looks fantastic. Is a direct link to him and what he did to campaign to Team GB and the government to get the funding for it, because it was on its arse when Audley was banging on about it. Like, but you're all right. He was mismanaged, and he's still kind of a G now. I quite like him.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think he was a fantastic amateur. He come into the pro game and got it all wrong. But you see that far too often.
Yeah.
And it's happening far too often, where these fights aren't happening anymore, and so many people are now turning to, YouTube boxing or to the UFC because fights are happening.
Hmm.
You know, mismatched fights, and everyone's fighting everyone, and whereas within boxing, it's not happening.
It's just so factional, isn't it? It's just
At
so
the lighter
political.
weights, it's happening.
Yeah.
We're seeing it at the lighter weights. Crawford Spence, and we've got, we've got the likes of Bivol and stuff. They're all fighting each other, but the higher weights, you're just not
Hmm.
seeing it.
It's like the
No.
heavyweight division at the moment's on hold, isn't it? Because everyone's waiting for Fury until Fury Usyk happens or one of them retires and drops the belts. Everyone's kind of just waiting around.
But even Fury, even the last after sort of Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, not the top heavyweights haven't really been fighting each other because it's
No.
so much about politics. Because heavyweights cost too much money.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'll sit and openly fucking talk about money. I don't care. I got £6,000 to fight Campbell, and I got £6,000 to fight on the last show. In the last show, I sold more than that in tickets. And
I
but
don't go
you
that
know,
far either. When you're talking
no, it
about,
doesn't. It
you're
doesn't.
talking about a man of your size, like food, training, transport, sparring, equipment, etc.,
Management,
etc., management,
management, ten
trainer.
percent, 10% of trainer. So out of 6 grand, you've lost 1,200 quid. Then the tax man, then the
Yep.
NI. Luckily, I've got an offshore account in Portugal anyway, so the tax man can fuck off. But anyway, besides that, it's the people think the minute you get into pro boxing, you've made it. People don't have a clue. They
No,
really, really don't have a clue. And when you see these dickheads on social media call them and stuff who, they haven't got a clue mentally, physically, financially what we put ourselves through to just do it because we enjoy it and we want to give other people enjoyment.
it's nuts. And like when you're talking about 6 grand to the layman, they sit there and go, "That's 6 grand for 25 minutes, 30 minutes," and it's like it's not. It's
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 the
six.
fight camps before, it's
It's
all the training
exactly
before, it's months and
right.
months of graft leading up to it.
Well, it's like this fight, for example, financially, mentally, and physically, I couldn't pull out because I started camp in February with Usyk.
Mm-hmm.
I then got told that I was fighting. I got told I was fighting the Southpaw. Then that got changed to some Croatian, 5 foot, 5'10", stocky kid. So I come home from Usyk in February, ready to fight in April. That then fell through. That got moved to June. So I'm already probably about a grand and a half down from getting
Yep.
sparring partners in. Then that got moved to June. Then that got moved to July. So I'm now 3 grand out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
On top of all the massages, on top of the nutrition, on top of the training, on top of all the little niggles and the fatigue. So I've now been in
Mm-hmm.
camp for 6 months. And then mentally and financially, there was no way could I possibly pull out that fight. No,
No.
regardless of what had went on 2 weeks earlier. And I've thought about putting proof on social media and but for what? For what?
Yeah,
For
exactly. That's
for
what I
the
was about to
for,
say.
for
For
the
what? For
dickheads to
who?
come for the dickheads to come and go, oh, he's just a sore loser, and or for listen, take nothing away from Franklin. Franklin didn't know what was, Franklin didn't know that I had broke my elbow 2 weeks previous.
No.
And like I say, I've thought about putting the MRI on. I've thought about putting the X-ray on and saying, listen, this is. But then I think, no, why? Why look like a dickhead? Accept the loss, move on, and move on to bigger things. And that's that's what
One
I've
hundred
that's what
percent.
I've learned to accept. That the more you sit and talk shit, then regardless whether the shit be truth, the more you look like a dick. So it's time, just we've been beat
Thing is,
off.
with the last fight, the styles didn't gel for a start, right? That's number one. Number two, like I say, I had that a draw. That neither one of you was able to really implement much of a game plan to either one of you. There was 4 rounds that could have gone either way. There was 4 rounds that I thought was quite clearly yours. In that instance, right? why would you bother to validate it? Because no one can watch that fight as actually that can understand what's going on and go, he beat you, you beat it. It was just a clash of styles in the highest order, right?
I mean,
Every
even
time.
being in the sorry, go on, Rob.
Go, no, go on, no, go. Even being in there,
Being in the ring, it was just a fucking odd because
right?
everything that we had worked on, he didn't do any of that, and that's
Nope.
fair play to his coach. The first 2 rounds was the what I thought he would have done. I boxed
Hmm.
his head off. I moved around. I kept, every time he come in, I hit him with a 1-2. He moved
Hmm.
on the back foot. And fair play to his coach. His coach has gone, listen, he's fallen short with a jab. Every time he jabs, every time he does something, step back and hide the left hook in. And he
Hmm.
caught us with that in the third and fourth. And my right hand had dropped because I think my elbow had sort of said, right, I can't
Hmm.
keep it up anymore. So fair play to him and his coach to notice that. The third, the fourth, and the fifth, I think he won comfortably. The sixth that come back out, I think I won the sixth. The seventh was definitely him. The eighth was definitely me. So 1, 2, 6, and 8 was 100. Listen, I'm not going to sit there and his coaches worked well on seeing what I was what I was doing wrong. My right hand had dropped,
Hmm.
things weren't working, and fair play to his coaches. But I've watched it back several times, and I don't understand how Ron Kearney can give it 79-74. I don't
Agreed.
know
Agreed.
where he's seen 3 draw rounds, and when 1, 2, and 8, you can't even you can't even sort of
Nope.
look at that and go, that was close, because they weren't close.
They
One,
weren't.
two, and 8 weren't even close. 6 was a little bit like, ooh, it could have went either way. I thought I won 6, but
I
6
thought you
was
had
one of
six
them where,
because you kind of stopped. Well, you at some point in six, you decided to try and put it on him a little bit,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
eight, you put it on him. 1 and 2,
it,
you were trying to box him and you were working, and then he made the adjustment. And then, like I
yes,
say, like
yeah,
six, you decided a little bit, probably a minute and a half through the round. You're like, I'm putting it on him now, and you did
yeah.
start to put it on him. And then 7, arguably,
Seven,
he 7, he had that right, but then
yeah,
8, you
seven,
had that clear.
three, 4, and 7, he won comfortably. Three,
Agreed.
4, and 7 were his. 1, 2, 8, 100% mine. 6, I think, was mine, and 5 was one of them that could have went. 4 and 5 could have went
Five
either.
was the most subjective
Sorry,
of them.
5 could have been. So, minimum. I thought when I went back to the corner, Mark went, I personally think you've won it, but I think he may call it a draw. He went,
Yeah.
just depend on what he likes. So when he said 79-74, I thought, hell, I didn't
Mm.
realize that. And then when he raised his hand, I just thought, wow, like to give him nine rounds and 3 equal is mad. But it's one of them things. It's boxing. It's, like you say, the referees watching so much. It wasn't the nicest of fights. He told him off several times for headbutting. He told him off several times
Oh,
for
what?
low blowing. He told
Do you know
and
what the one for me was the old
he
forearm,
kept on
dude.
Yeah,
his
He was
elbow
yeah.
in there.
naughty with the elbows, wasn't he?
Well, that's fair play to him. He's worked that. He's obviously worked that, and he's getting away with it. So fair play to him.
Fact. But still,
Um, you
from a
know,
fan's perspective and from a ref perspective, how are you not seeing that? If you're seeing the headbutts and you're seeing everything else
but
and
he
you're telling
was because he
you
was
off,
telling him off.
yeah, he was
I was
telling him
telling
off,
him.
but like do something about it.
He was telling me off for arguing with him,
Yeah,
because I'm saying, Ron, are you for fucking real? And he's
yeah.
going, you better shut your mouth or I'll take a point off you for unsportsmanship, like. And I'm thinking,
You
okay,
prick.
I thought, I'm not even I'm one round down,
Yeah, you don't
from
need
from
it.
when I played the Champions
Yeah.
League music. I can't be asked to be sitting arguing and having a point taken off us for unsportsmanlike, conduct. But yeah, but then you get wrong for being unsportsman in all sports. You've got this Australian kid in the tennis. You've got footballers getting yellow card, and then you've got Ben Whittaker fucking dancing, laughing, looking at coaches, and I think, Well, where does it stop?
It doesn't.
It's unsportsmanlike to sit on the ball or to dribble around a player who isn't there and you're getting a yellow card, or it's unsportsmanlike to have an argument with an umpire, or and then you've got Ben Whittaker making someone miss and dancing and laughing in his face. Like there's not much more unsportsmanlike than that
No,
from me.
Yeah.
no,
The
it's
arrogance
just
to that is
exactly flagrant and brazen showboating, right? That's
what
wrong.
I think it is. I think it's disrespectful to the sport.
Yeah. I
And
don't think
as I
it
say,
sells tickets either. I don't think there's many young fans out there, because the young fans are all clamoring to Misfits, seeing the girl whip out her boobies, and KSI and so forth.
listen, what I don't care what anyone says about that sport. It's selling tickets. It's bringing people in, and that I thought fair play to Jake Paul again last night. And
Yeah.
he's doing things in the sport, and he's training every day. He's putting his body through
It,
serious pain every day in training, and
again,
he's
I don't disagree. I'm very upset that Ian couldn't make it tonight, but he did win. He did win against the old, retired, undersized MMA dude. Fine. He didn't look bad doing it. He's getting better and better. He's 5-0 against MMA guys. What is he? 0-1 against anyone that's nearly a boxer.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. If people are watching it, let them watch it. Who cares?
And he's making serious money off it as well. And like, you can not hate people that monetize being hated. Like, that's like
No,
the ultimate way of getting money.
of course it is.
People are paying him to watch him lose, and he's proven them wrong every time, or
Yeah,
nearly every
there,
time.
100%.
I'm about it. Like, honestly, it makes no difference to me if he carries on doing what he's doing. Listen, he's never going to make it as a. I mean, touch wood. He can have the opportunity if he wants. He's never going to make it as an actual boxer, because he doesn't fight professional boxers. And the one that he did fight, which was Tommy, he sort of knocked him down, but he lost pretty comfortably. It was what it was. Now, I want to talk to you about this coming weekend, Big Steve. Obviously, Big Deals has been adversely found to be having some things in his system. Was this his second or third time? I think he got done in
I think
12.
it's his second time, he said, yeah.
It's his second, but it would have been his third had that one have stood. But I think
That's what I'm saying.
similar to the Conor Ben situation, after months of going back and forwards, I think he got away with it, and they got away with it. Would is water or eggs or whatever it may be, but
Eggs was huge, wasn't it? Eggs was huge.
fucking well, obviously Canelo with a steak as well, and
Yeah, the
scientists
tainted meat.
come out and say how much eggs or how much steak you would have to physically eat to show any signs of that in your body. And before you'd show signs of that, you'd have the likes of potassium poisoning, or you'd have the likes of, so regardless of but for me, I'm just disappointed again, because in the sport, and it's the same as with the Tony Yoka thing, and
Yeah, oh, Tony Yoka.
you just look and you just think, what are you fucking doing? Because
Yeah.
I'm not even up there with them, and I've had several drugs tests,
Yep.
random tests. Fuck off.
You've told me. I mean, you've told me before that some of the meds that probably you should be on, you're not allowed to take because you would
Yeah.
pop hot under UKAD, which is wrong, because there should be an exemption for that, right?
I can't even take modafinil.
Okay. I'd like to take modafinil.
So I can't even take that now. Should I go to the boxing board and go through lots of physical things where I'm getting letters from my doctor and this and that and t'other, and fannying about with all that. But then the issue is you have a test, you fail, it's all over social media before you even get a chance to say, whoa, stop there. It was
Yep.
modafinil. I've been sanctioned to be able to take it. You don't even get your chance. And Dillian Whyte's come out and obviously give a statement and said, why is this fight being cancelled before I've even getting a chance to prove my innocence? But then you've got David Hayes come out and said he knew last week that Dillian Whyte was going to fail a drugs test because Chisora said that he was going to be stepping in. And you read these things and you think, what the fuck's going on? No wonder people don't know. Like, it's so frustrating because that just shows the corruption of what's going on behind closed doors. Did they know last week that this fight wasn't going ahead?
It's the same with Ben Eubank. I mean, Ben Eubank, before it hit the news, was everyone knew about it for a week, 2 weeks before, because they said the test was a month, 2 months old. And even if you just look at like the fans going to the arena and that, you've got people that have booked hotels, people that are traveling or whatever to go watch it. You're giving them less than a week's notice to try and sort their stuff out. So like at the end of the day, you could talk about the fight being cancelled and people losing out on money in that, but like your actual fans that are coming to watch you, they're the ones that are losing out.
Yeah.
How funny was it for Andy Ruiz to come out and say, let's do the trilogy, though? You know for a fact, Eddie just went, I'm not doing that one again, boy.
Yeah.
Lol.
Fair play. I mean, he looks like a middleweight. I don't know what the fuck he's been on, but I think he's been either on heroin or he's got AIDS off some Mexican prostitute. Because
I thought the same thing. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, Andy, how much AIDS have you consumed? Because you seriously... he's had his teeth done. He's been to Turkey. He's had the teeth done. He's had a little bit of lipo. He's had the gyno treatment, and he's covered himself in tattoos so you can't see the scars. Gee, shit. I'm gonna do it.
I mean, and then they've got who was the guy today come out and said I was meant to be fighting first? Madbarick?
Who knows?
Who
even knows?
It?
I don't know.
Is there a heavyweight called Madbarick or something?
There is something like. Yeah, I know. I kind of vaguely know who you mean. Like, listen, when you've got someone like AJ who is, the top of the heap, he sits there with Usyk and Fury, right? As an asset, as an investment, as a commodity to anyone. You're not going to let anyone go near him unless you know it's worth the cash. It's just not going to happen.
100%, which is why I think it will be Chisora.
Of course it will. He's too late.
Chisora, it'll be quite easy to do because they're same management company and same promoter. So he was already training for the show as well because he was on the undercard.
That's what I was just about to say. And if you're going to find two similar fighters, because I don't think Joshua will make that mistake again where he just pulls in anybody. Because should it be Hrgovic? Hrgovic is 6'7", a strong, powerful forward fighter, which he hasn't had that type of sparring. Yeah. So, whereas Chisora and Dillian Whyte are probably, the closest thing to each other you're going to get in heavyweight boxing. I can guarantee Chisora's been sparring Fury for this fight. Joshua for this fight. So, and listen, he's already fought one of his pals recently. So, it's a payday. It's a payday for him. It's another headlining of an arena. So
from marketing, like Del Boy is the ultimate choice, right?
Easier. So if anyone's going to sell
everyone
a fight
knows Del Boy. Exactly, everyone knows Del Boy. He turns up with a bandana on. He gives it the completely creepy. I'm just ready to fight anyone. Oh. You're like, all right, guys, yeah, sick, right? Who cares? Like everyone, like I'd watch AJ Chisora. I'm hyped for that. If it's that. I'm not that hyped for AJ versus Hrgovic. AJ Chisora, for a fact Chisora is going to sleep at some point. Or unfortunately, we probably see Del Boy do war mode and we see AJ maybe implode, which no one wants to see. Everyone wants to see the former of that.
Or we see a rehash of Fury versus Chisora where it was obviously just two mates fighting and Fury just basically carried him to the finish. And that could well be it. Like, I mean, they're not going to chuck Hrgovic in with a week's notice. The only positive of AJ winning
not.
is he'd become the new mandatory, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a risk for them and probably for Eddie as well, because he's got the mandatory plus he's got Anthony Joshua, so it's better to have two than one, I guess.
Plus, you also lose your co-main.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. I agree. There's no way Hrgovic is gonna step in with that, and I think obviously once Dubois did, I think Hrgovic is next for Usyk. In December, I think he's. But realistically, if Joshua wins on the weekend, is he now mandatory to fight Usyk again?
Not this weekend, no, but because he's not a mandatory for anyone. So Dubois is the WBA. I think the next one after the WBA is the IBF, which is Hrgovic.
Hrgovic,
and then it goes back to the WBO because Usyk was the WBO.
Yes.
Yeah. So then what we have is a very, irrelevant situation where Joyce or Zhang are sitting out in the dark for probably another 18 months. Hrgovic maybe gets a shot against Usyk again. That's a very tough sell. Hilarious that Dubois is getting a shot against Usyk. Like, I got no issue with Dubois, but let's be honest, that's not going to be great. It's going to be, I don't want to say a massacre, but you can just see Usyk just shutting him down in every single facet. Like, there is nothing that you can do. I did see Dev from BT Sport Queensbury trying to give it the absolute mega sell, which I was quite impressed with, because he was like, if you're Dan Dubois and you're 25, 26 and you get to have your shot at the heavyweight champion and he's 36 and he's a lot smaller than you and he's this and he's this and it's this, and it's just like, mate, but it's Usyk. What was sparring Usyk like?
Shit, because I knew I only had 3 rounds with him, so all I had to do was stop him doing what he wanted to do, and that's probably why I've been invited to every. Had I not have fucked my elbow, I should have been there now. And Sergey, his manager, has already says I'll be part of every camp, because for me, I wasn't. You've probably seen I'm not worried about anybody's power. I don't. I've got.
Well, you've never really been in the ring with me.
True. But I've got
a step ladder.
Right. Can you at that point, when you make this a clip, can you please flash up the picture of me and Steve together, where I maybe if I put my head up and go on tiptoes, come up to his nipple?
But like I say, it was. You could see, for me, I seen 7 people kicked out of camp because he was just taking lanes on them where they couldn't do anything with him. But when it was my turn to spar with him, similar to see if somebody rang me now and says, Stephen, you're fighting Anthony Joshua on Saturday.
Yep.
It's a 3-round fight. I've got 3 rounds to knock him out, because I'm not going to be able to box him. I'm not going to be able to beat him because he's been sparring for 12 rounds. So I've got 3 rounds to fucking knock him out. That's exactly what I thought Joshua would have done. Usyk part 2. I thought Joshua would have went, right, this is a 4-round fight. If I don't knock him out in 4 rounds, I'm beat. Whether he knocks us out, whether I'm exhausted and I quit my corner, whatever it may be. So when I knew I was only sparring 3 rounds with Usyk, it was like, right, so you like to dance around the ring, you like to come in, you like to pivot to the left. So for me, all I'd done was widen my stance, stop him coming in, and every time he looked to come in, I just grabbed him, or jabbed him, or uppercutted him, because I put the pace on him, because I knew I only had 9 minutes in that ring.
Yeah.
Now, had Sergey said you've got 2 more rounds, he would have fucking knocked us. He would have messed us around, because I put everything in them 3 rounds, because I knew that's all I had to do. I knew I had 3 rounds, and I thought, right, I'm here for 3 rounds to make a show of myself and to stop him doing what he's going to do. And that's what I done. And I was the only one that was there at the end of the camp, who had been there from the start. I've been invited back twice now. But unfortunately, obviously, just before we got Franklin, but he was nothing like Franklin, so we couldn't go back on that fact. And then after the fight, we found out obviously about my elbow, so we couldn't go back. But he's already said that not looking past the bar, come his fight in December with whoever it may be, that I will be part of the camp. Obviously, should he be fighting the 6'7" southpaw who Hrgovic has got, then obviously I won't be part of that. But
no,
can you see that happening? I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt you're going to get Hrgovic over, put him on a co-main when you've got some. I think Eddie has some sort of promotional affiliation to Hrgovic's people as well. It's just whatever. What was the like from Usyk's perspective? What was his? Because he's kind of got like a mystique about him. What was the physical strength like? What was the power like? Or is it just? It's just all of it all at once.
Power, because
it's accuracy more than power.
It was sort of the fight hadn't even been confirmed. The date hadn't been confirmed, so he still wasn't at his fittest. He still wasn't. We're all wearing 20-ounce gloves. So 20-ounce gloves and
that's a big glove. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really. I don't want to.
You can't really gauge, right? 20-ounce gloves compared to the 10s that you fight in, and they're a very different. Sparring gloves are a very different composition to the 10s that you fight in as well.
Definitely, yeah. You've just hit the nail on that. You can't really engage much. You can engage. You can respect and realize how good he is with his foot movement, getting around. Pivoting, getting in, getting around you, getting around the side of your head, and then being back in front of you. You can appreciate all of that, but power-wise, you don't really get to see much, and he doesn't do pads, so you don't really get to see anything on the pads. And bag work is after 15 rounds of sparring.
He doesn't do pads at all.
No pads. No pads. When I spoke to Sergey and asked for pads, he just laughed and pretty much said, "There's not many Eastern Europeans do pad work. It's not really in there."
To be fair, I've never really seen Loma do pads. To be honest,
Loma not do pads. He was there, and I never seen him do pads. And then he went over to Vegas with his dad. He said it's not even in the curriculum of learning boxing from an early age.
Kind of makes sense, right?
He said it's not part of what they do. He says we'll spar.
A lot of people say pads is just kind of like for show now. Like a lot of people just use pads for like public workouts and that, and Graham, yeah.
Now, pads have got their place, right? Let's be honest. Pads have got their place. There's a reason that pads exist. Pads, as it's used for the flashy combos, have no place. But like, I tell you who's one of the best ones to watch on the pads was always Andre Ward and Triple G. Those two, like Triple G was always like 2s, 3s, maybe 4 shots. If you ever saw more than 4 with like a Triple G or Andre Ward, you knew that they were flashing a little bit. But then when you see like the Floyd, that's all for show. Yeah, exactly. That's all for show. That's all for Graham, and that's all just to. But even the Floyd stuff, the sequences that they do, it's about being able to do that time in, time out, repetition over and over and over and over again. And they time the amount of times they do it. So when we had Gerald Tucker on, he was like, we would do that sequence for 15, 17 minutes straight before the first one to fail. That's why we would do it, because it becomes part of your like neurology. You put your entire instincts of everything that you do, it comes out and it plays. But when you're doing, the T-shirt tied up, giving it the box raw 17-piece combos, it's not the same. Which you would look very handsome in, Steve, by the way. I would do pads for you like that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I don't agree with. I mean, I'm dyslexic, so when I'm doing any more than 6, I'm fucked. You know, I might be able to do 1, 2 left hook right, or I cut left hook straight right. Any more than that, it's see you later.
You've got a career on Strictly, haven't you?
It's gone. I think the most I do is you know this whole block roll, but I don't block or roll shots anyway. So what's the point in fucking practicing it on pads? My face is my blocking tool, and that's it. That's how it's going to be. So, you know, but what's the point in changing something now? It is what it is. It's you know we're trying too much to change the world at the minute with everything, you know. So why I'm happy to be who I am and what I'm about, and I'm not willing to change for anyone or anything.
Decent. Flipping back to the whole Dillian situation. What do you think? If you get done once for drugs, you are in trouble, right? Twice, what we saying? 3 times, now what?
I'm a lady. I love you. I just think I think it's disrespectful to the sport. I think it's disrespectful to the peers of the sport. I think it's disrespectful to the people who look up to you. I think it's disrespectful to the British Boxing Board, everyone around you, your coach, because if your coach knows you're on that, he wants fucking sacked just as much as you. He should be getting a 2-year suspension. Your nutritionist, all of them. It shouldn't just be him, because if you're listen, you're a 36-year-old man, and somebody comes up to you, gives you something and says, try that, you know, it's down to you to go no. But if you've got the people, these scientists, the people at the top end of the sport saying, listen, you need this. If you want to carry on your career, you need this. Subconsciously, that tells you, well, if I don't take that, am I going to be able to get to where I want to be? You start questioning yourself. So if he's went to the local kid on the fucking street and said, listen, give us 2 bottles of test, 2 bottles of master on, and bag of green and some growth hormone, then strike him down, suspend him, do what you need to do to him. But when I say these boxers getting done, I think sometimes it's a hard one, because I've never been told to try anything. I've never been told to take anything. But at the same time, I see people in the gym every day who take things, and I see bodybuilders who take things, and they say, I can train 3 times a day. It's a miracle drug. It's this, it's that, and to that. And you do question yourself of where you could be. And Malinardi said it. He says, nobody who's at the top of the game is natural. You know, I don't care what they say. They're not. Nobody at the top is natural.
But then where's the line, right? Because the line is, if you take a vitamin supplement, that's not natural, because the amount of stuff you would have to take if you were taking a vitamin C supplement, a vitamin D supplement, a vitamin K2 supplement, the amount of stuff that you have to take to actually consume that amount of K2 is absurd. So then where's that line? I know what you're saying, but then on the other side to it, Paulie, I love Paulie a lot, and I don't. He is 100% natural in every instance. I would be stunned if that dude took protein powder. For him, where does that line sit? Is protein powder the line for him? Is taking paracetamol before the fight not natural? You know what I mean? Like, it's a very subjective thing. And in Dillian's case, right, Buddy McGirt will not, like, I've met Buddy a good few times. That dude is as old school as it gets. He's not injected. He's not tolerating that. He is completely from the old school. So I don't know what Dillian's even been tested positive for.
We don't actually know what he's tested positive for.
This is it. It could be another Billy Joe Saunders thing with a nasal spray. It could be anything. So until it comes out what they've actually tested him positive for, what his adverse finding is in relation to, we don't know. That's all suspect. But the fact that Eddie, with the relationship that he has with Dillian, has immediately pulled him from the fight, Eddie knows what it is. No?
It's just a weird part of, Dillian insisted in the contracts that there was drugs testing throughout, and he was the big advocate for it, and then he tests positive for it. So something weird's happened there.
That was Dillian's statement, wasn't it? We don't know how much truth is behind that. He's come out and said, I wanted drugs testing the whole thing, and you know, I've been part of a few AJ camps, and he is literally tested every day. Like, you can't have come in every single day when I was down there and tested him, and he's laughed and gone, again. You know, if I tested positive yesterday, I'm not going to test. But every single day for weeks on end, that guy was tested, and that was a bit of a nightmare.
There we are.
Yeah, when you're out of camp and you're taking, which is obviously what Conor Benn had tested positive for. He had finished his cycle, then off the back of that, whatever you take, colostrum or whatever, that's what was in his system, but it's for me, it's just absolute stupidity to its highest. But at the same time, Dillian's come out and said, "Where I can't even. Nobody's given us a chance to even explain myself." But you've hit the nail on the head. If Eddie Hearn's come out and just pulled it like that, there's more to it than just a bit of clenbuterol or what could be in a nasal spray or ephedrine or whatever it may be.
The worrying part is, well, not worrying, but like the difference between Dillian and Conor was Conor Benn's got the whole Matchroom and DAZN, behind him, to try and clear it. Dillian's on a fight-by-fight contract, so he doesn't have that whole
but that makes him
to try and help
even
him out.
more trustworthy with Eddie, because if you're on a fight-by-fight, and let's be honest, he's been on a lot of fight-by-fights with Eddie, you have to have such a good relationship to not have him locked down, to allow him to do what he wants to do. Like, he's your boy, right? At that point, at a certain point, it has to be that. So I understand what you're saying, but you would be as important as an asset, as an entity, and as a person as Conor as you are as Dillian, because Dillian sells tickets, dude. Like, who doesn't love Dillian? Who doesn't love maximum violence? You know what I mean?
I mean, you look at Fury, Fury White, how much that sold at Wembley. I mean, everyone obviously gives the credit to Fury, but, there's two people in that fight in the main event.
Yeah, we were there for Dillian.
Were you?
I was, yeah. I was there for big deals. Freezing. Having near nervous breakdowns, and that's okay. What's next for you, big man?
Another prospect, we've been given a few names. We'll see what this MRI comes back with. Find out in the next 3 to 4 days what the MRI says. So basically, I had what was, in a nutshell, shin splints of the elbow. It's called an Ulvasion fracture, where the tendon snaps off part of the bone. So we need to find out whether or not the MRI, whether the tendon's reattached. So we'll get the results for that in 3-4 days, and we'll see where we'll go from there. Once we get the results of that, we'll know whether or not we need to re-breaking. So the two options is the re-break it, and we'll cast it, so it heals properly.
Okay.
The second option is that it's healed, but whether or not they cast it or not is another question, depending on where or not it's attached itself onto. So the option of the next fight isn't really there yet.
Yeah.
As of training, because I'm unable to do anything. I'm unable to throw my right hand, catch shots, spar.
Yeah.
So we'll just see where that goes, and then we'll go from there. For ideally, we'll look at December. I've heard a few rumours that we've got possibly Cyrus Patterson versus Lewis Ritson
Okay.
up in the northeast, which I think would be an absolute
Banger.
unbelievable fight. Obviously, shall Matchroom come up. You've got Callum French, Dickinson,
Yeah.
McCormick.
Yeah.
So if that happens, then obviously, ideally, I'll jump on that against one of their heavyweights. We'll see what comes of it.
I love that.
Their heavyweights there's some big names obviously signed with Matchroom. They've got some really good prospects. So
Yeah.
see what and match. The good thing with Matchroom contracts is that you win and they all offer you a
And it stays
3 fight
on, right?
contract. So
Yeah.
it's as I say, I know where I'm at. I've fought 2 undefeated fighters back to back, and come this injury, we'll be fighting a third undefeated fighter, and there's no 2-3 fights back into it and rebuild. And mentally, I'm not scarred. Mentally, I'm fine. Physically, I'm a little bit sore, but we get straight back in the gym. We spar the best. We get in the best. We spend the money we need to spend to get the best in, and we'll go again, ready for whoever it may be.
You know that we will be flying the flag, bannering, cheering, everything. You know we always do.
It's interesting because there's not many heavyweights down, low down or even high up willing to do that. And I think TKV is the only one who's come out and says I want to fight anybody and everybody, and you
Fucking
take
love
your hat off
TKV.
to him because he's doing it and he's saying it, and whatever it may be. I think are people worried of him? Are people frightened of him? Because technically,
For sure they are.
I think they are. I really do
think they
think
are.
they are, because technically he is a very, very, very tidy fighter.
Yeah,
Very
he's a
tidy
nightmare.
fighter.
And he's
a
going
nightmare.
at lengths as well to get
Yeah.
up. Like, he's traveling to Poland to fight. Like,
He's
not
short.
afraid to do stuff like that.
He's compact. He rolls. He fights amazingly on the
body,
inside. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Exactly. He fights like a big, like James Toney-esque fighter. He's a great fighter to watch. He's one of the ones that I am adamant he's going to have one crossover fight. I don't know who it will be against, and then all of a sudden everyone will be all up on him, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not up on him, and like we're not going to talk about Boxer and the way that they manage their fighters for obvious reasons, but I just do not understand why they're not just going, let's put just some chips behind TKV. Right? I just don't get it.
He was struggling to get a backstage interview. Like,
this is it. He had a great win, and they didn't even bother to interview him. Like he's like, we're fuming.
Yeah.
Because they haven't invested millions of pounds into him like other fighters, but now they're starting to see his worth. And listen, hopefully things come off the back of that, and because he seems a very genuinely good kid, nice kid, and he's beat he's been and beat people in the amateurs, and he's now calling them out, and the people who he's been beat off in the amateurs, he's calling out, and he just wants to fight the best. And Johnny's similar. Johnny's saying, "Listen, I want to fight people. I want these fights, and you want to know your worth. You're not in the boxing game for 30 years and it's not like football where everybody has to play everybody. It's one of them where you just want to fight everybody. You want to build a name for yourself. You want to build a legacy for yourself and for your area and for your fans and for the people watching you. And unfortunately, there's not enough other fighters. And I love the Fraser Clark and Dave Allen fight.
Yeah, I do too.
I think fair play to Fraser for coming out and taking that after the whole Wardley thing. I don't think the Wardley thing was his fault.
No, naughty though, right?
That fight. Yeah. I think he would have been more than happy to take that fight. So to take on a dangerous fighter like Dave Allen, who's looking mentally in good shape, physically in good shape, he's sparring, which is something I've never seen Dave do for a while. I know he didn't spar for the Price fight. So he's in good mentally and physically in a good place, and for Fraser to take that fight on, but Fraser's an Olympian. Fraser should know his worth, and he's doing well to take that on to show. Listen, I know where I'm at. I know where I want to get to. So fair play to him for taking that fight on and shutting a lot of the doubters up. And this is the worrying thing. Should Fraser lose, people will think, "Whoa, that's him done." Is it? Fuck.
No, mate, it's Dave Allen. Dave Allen's a great fighter. At any time at that level, Dave Allen can cause problems.
Yeah,
of course he can. He's a massive, massive puncher. He's willing to take 4 or 5 punches to get you with one of his. We're seeing that against Lucas Brown. We're seeing that against Nick Webb. He tried it against Price. He's willing to take 3 or 4 of your big shots to high that left to the body or that overhand right or that big left hook, and he whips them in well. And so should Fraser get beat? Should TKV get beat off, a good fighter? This is what pisses us off. People think when you get beat, that's you're done. You're finished. They don't have a clue. These people who think that are the people who are sitting behind a keyboard who really, really don't have a clue. But
this is the argument, though, Steve, right? Because
you're going to get beat at some point.
For sure, and from the fans' perspective, like we don't care. No one cares about the zero. No one cares at all. Like no one thinks that Spence is anything less of a fighter because he just got beaten by Bud. You know what I mean? Like I had a little chuckle there because of all the stuffed animals. It's amazing. It's so powerful. Right? It's just so powerful. But no, like if the stuffed animals in the background, the second you turn the light on and it's just there. Yes, there, Peter Rabbit. My youngest had the same thing where she would not go anywhere without her Peter Rabbit, but now she doesn't give a fuck about Peter Rabbit no more.
I still give a fuck about Peter.
Yeah, she doesn't care anymore. She's moved on. But yeah, like from that perspective, no one fans don't care about the zero. No one does. Like Canelo's got L's. Like the only person that still hasn't got L's is fucking Floyd and Bud.
Yeah.
Who else cares?
We're getting to a point now where people just want to see competitive fights because you look at
Paul's got a loss. You look at Sam.
Yeah, exactly. You look at Johnny got a lot of flack after his last opponent. Fraser got a lot of flack off his. He got a lot of flack for the big men's he was fighting and that. And a lot of people don't realise that you guys aren't in charge of your matchmaking. Like you get a name, it changes 3-4 times, and you guys have to try and deal with it. We had Devon Miller on the other day.
Yeah,
he lost his debut. He had 4 fights opponents put out before he made his debut, and he got it with 24 hours notice, 48 hours notice.
I know it was a week's notice. He had to
but he had to
come down. Yeah. He had a week's notice. He had to come down from heavyweight down to cruiserweight in a week, and he had to fight someone that had beat him in the amateurs. And it was just
I think people don't realise the matchmakings. Yeah, the matchmakings the promoter's job. You guys have to turn up and fight, and you guys have to try and deal with all the obstacles that come with that. And we're getting to the point now where a lot of the the up and comers in the heavyweight division, the training wheels are starting to come off now. Like, we heard Eddie say it about Johnny. Fraser's now fighting bigger names. TKV's moving up. So we're getting to the point now where we're going to be getting some good competitive fights out of them. And I think that's all really the fans want.
But then you also got like Johnny fighting for an area title against someone that TKV just battered. When they're both in the same area, which makes no sense to me. Right, whatever. Big Steve, do you want to have a final message for your loved ones?
Just thank you. Thank you for having us on, and I've missed you, and I love you.
I love you too, man. Big respect. Patreon.com firewords. Yes. We love the Donald. Trump 2024, motherfuckers.